trip.
Okay, so we've got this song, Bert Interrupts Again, by Kurt Holes. And, well, the title alone, it kind of makes you think, right? About those times when you're trying to say something.
You can't get a word in edgewise.
Exactly. It's like we've all met a Bert at some point or another.
Oh, absolutely. It's a universal experience, isn't it? That frustration of being constantly interrupted.
It really is.
Yeah.
So this deep dive, we're taking a closer look at these lyrics, trying to understand maybe the dynamics at play, when someone just keeps hijacking the conversation.
Right, because it's more than just being annoying, right? It actually reveals something about power dynamics, about how we interact with each other.
Yeah. Okay, so the song starts, and it's pretty clear what's going on. Someone's trying to talk.
And Bert keeps cutting them off.
Over and over. And there's this line, Bert's voice in the room, nothing I can do. It's like...
defeated, almost. Like they've just given up.
Yeah. You feel that sense of helplessness.
And that's, I think, a perfect illustration of conversational dominance. It's this idea that some people, they just naturally, or maybe not even consciously...
they dominate the conversation.
Exactly. They take up more space, so to speak. And it's not always intentional or malicious even.
Right. It's not always about being mean.
Exactly. It could be personality. It could be cultural norms. Some cultures are just more...
talkative?
well, yeah.
Sure.
Or maybe more hierarchical, where certain people are just expected to speak more.
It's interesting, though, because the song doesn't really tell us why Bert's interrupting.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about...
the impact.
yeah, the effect it has on the other person.
And that's where those oohs come in, those repeated sounds throughout the lyrics. Ooh, ooh. It's subtle, but...
powerful.
yes.
Yeah.
Because it's not even a word, really. It's just this sound of frustration, of resignation, maybe. Like every time they try to speak.
They get shut down. And it's almost like they've internalized that feeling.
Absolutely. It's like those oohs are the only voice they have left.
And then it gets even pointed, I guess. The lyrics say, I nod and I smile, let him take the stage. With Bert in the lead, nobody's upstaged.
It's a coping mechanism.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they've learned to just disappear, to keep the peace.
And that's the thing, isn't it? We often talk about assertiveness, about speaking up, but what about those situations where it feels easier or maybe even safer to just not?
To stay quiet.
Exactly. And that's a whole other conversation, really.
Okay.
About social dynamics, about power imbalances.
Yeah. So what do you do if you find yourself, stuck with a Bert? How do you deal with that?
Well, there are strategies. One thing I find helpful is something called reflective listening. Basically, you're showing the other person you're listening, but you're also subtly guiding the conversation.
How do you do that?
So you might say something like, okay, so what I hear you saying is, and you paraphrase what they said. And building on that, I was thinking, you acknowledge their point, but then you bring it back to what you want to say.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's like you're validating them, but you're also...
reasserting yourself gently. It takes practice, but it can be really effective.
yeah, because you don't want to be rude, but...
right. It's a delicate balance.
well, that's something to think about as we kind of wrap up our deep dive here.
Think about the Berts in your life.
Yeah. And maybe those oohs
Yeah.
can be a reminder to really listen, to make sure everyone has a chance to speak. Because a conversation, it shouldn't be a solo act, right?
Absolutely. It's about sharing and listening and finding that balance.
Exactly. All right, that's it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening.